Today's lesson is called the Ì斯瓦卡橋 Bridge, a link to the past. Hello everyone, my name is Jeff.
My name is Roger, and today we're going to continue talking about a special bridge down in Lima, Peru. Well, not Lima, but in Peru. It's high in the mountains down there in the Andes Mountains, and if you're an adventurous traveler, you might happen upon this bridge made out of rope called the Ì斯瓦卡橋Bridge, and we talked a little bit about the bridge, and we were sort of touching on the fact that it does not use modern machinery to rebuild, and it does need to be rebuilt, I guess, every year.
It is rebuilt every year. It's made out of a special grass, and I imagine that grass isn't super durable. It's not going to last forever, so they have to rebuild the bridge every year, which is pretty cool. Anyways, we've got more on this rope bridge today. We'll start reading from the second part of this particular article right after this.
The bridge is remade each year in June. The women of the villages prepare the harvested grass by braiding it into 60-meter-long ropes that are 1.5 centimeters in diameter. Once this work is finished, the men begin the process of making the bridge itself. The construction of the bridge takes 3 days. On the first day, the men weave the smaller ropes into 6 massive cables, each about 30 centimeters thick. It takes around 120 small ropes to make a single cable.
大家好，第一部分我们看到单字 braid 这个字是动词，指把点点点编成辫子。例如 Linda braids her hair every morning before going to school. Linda 每天早上上学前都会把头发编成辫子。另外，这个字也可以当名词，意思是辫子。举例来说 The woman had a braid in her long brown hair. 那个女人的棕色长发里有一条辫子。再来，我们看到名词 diameter， 意思是直径。像是 What is the diameter of this circle? 这个圆圈的直径是多少？另外，补充一个相关名词 radius, R-A-D-I-U-S, radius, 意思是半径。例如 There was heavy rain within a 150-kilometer radius from the eye of the typhoon. 距离台风眼150公里的暴风半径内会有暴雨。接着，我们看到单字 massive， 这个字是形容词，指巨大的、大规模的。例如 The road was closed because a massive tree fell onto it. 那条路因为一棵大树倒落路面而封闭了。或是 A massive landslide buried the mountain village. 一场大规模的山崩掩埋了那个山村。
Okay, again, the subject of our lesson today is the Ì斯瓦卡橋Bridge down in Peru, high in the mountains there. And the bridge is remade each year in June. Remember, this bridge is made out of rope, which is made out of grass. Grass is kind of organic and it doesn't last forever, so they probably need to rebuild or remake this bridge each year, and they do it in the month of June, which to them, I guess, means that's the start of the winter season. But for us, of course, it's when summer comes. And here we've got the word remade. That is the past tense of the verb to remake, to do something. That sort of reminds me of something that happened many years ago. My cousin was a real joker, and he thought it would be funny to throw the birthday cake at my sister's birthday party into my Uncle Chet's face. So the cake had to be remade. Nobody thought that was funny, and someone had to make the cake again. They had to remake the cake.
Now, let's talk about how this particular bridge is remade. The women of the villages prepare the harvested grass by braiding it into 60-meter-long ropes that are 1.5 centimeters in diameter. So there you go. If you took a cross-section of this rope, you would probably have a circle, something that looks circular. And if you took the longest distance across that particular circle, you'd have the diameter. But basically, when we're saying it's 1.5 centimeters in diameter, this rope that we're talking about here, we're saying that it's 1.5 centimeters thick.
Right, so that does not sound very thick, or it doesn't sound very wide in diameter there, but you know, those women in the village bridge are working very hard by braiding that grass into these very long and thin sections of rope. So here we've got the word braid, B-R-A-I-D, braid. That could be both a noun and a verb. I used to do this for my daughter when she was young. She's got very long hair, or at least she did then. I braided her hair. Most of the time, you take 3 strands of hair, and then you just kind of take one over the other 2 and keep going back and forth like that. That is braiding someone's hair, and then the resulting product is called a braid.
There you go. Now, once this work is finished, the men begin the process of making the bridge itself. And yes, Roger's right. If you look at each of these ropes, you think, only 1.5 centimeters in diameter? That's not very big. That doesn't seem very strong. Well, wait, okay? We've got you there. This bridge is not flimsily constructed, even though it is made out of grass. Anyways, the construction of the bridge takes 3 days, which is actually quite fast. I'm kind of impressed by that. You can build this bridge in only 3 days. But before we move on, let's go ahead and talk about what the word construction means. Construction, it's a noun, okay? It comes from the verb construct. If you construct something, you build that thing. So here, construction, that word refers to the process of making something or building that thing.
Yep, construction. I had some relatives when I was a kid who worked in construction. They helped build roads and houses and stuff like that. So the construction or the building of the bridge takes 3 days. And here's what happens on the first day. The men weave the smaller ropes into 6 massive cables, each about 30 centimeters thick.
So there you go. You were worried about that before. All those ropes are so thin, only 1.5 centimeters in diameter. Well, they take each of those ropes, or they take a lot of them, and they put them together, and they form massive cables.
Right, so we've got the word weave here, which is similar to braid. Weaving is usually what people do with clothes. You know, one piece of cloth goes under and over and under and over, and you use a loom for that. That's weaving. So that's what they do with these strands of braided grass. They weave it all together into these 6 massive cables. They're not just big, they're not just huge, but they are massive. Massive means really, really big. So I think that means the bridge is going to be safe, and each one is about 30 centimeters thick. Yeah, that's pretty thick there. I would be probably pretty satisfied to go across a bridge with cables that thick, and it takes around 120 small ropes to make a single cable. That is a lot of work, but I'm sure the resulting product is something to be proud of.
That is amazing. All right, folks, with that, it's time for us to take a short break, but don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
On the second day, the cables are secured to stone supports on either side of the river. 4 of the cables will serve as the walkway for the new bridge, while 2 become the handrails. Meanwhile, the old bridge is cut away and drops into the river, where it simply rots away.
第二个部分，我们看到动词 secure 指系紧、拴牢，像是 The sailors used thick ropes to secure the ship to the dock. 水手用粗绳将船固定在码头。另外，这个字除了上面的意思，还有以下2种用法。第一，指得到、获得。例如 The movie studio paid $10 million to secure the rights to the author's newest novel. 那家电影公司付了$1000万取得该作者的最新小说的版权。第二，这个字也可以当作形容词，指安心的、稳当的。举例来说 Yvonne has a secure position within the company. Yvonne 在该公司里有一个稳固的职位。再来，我们看到单字 walkway， 这个字是名词，指走道、通道。像是 I heard someone call my name when I was passing through the walkway. 当我经过走道时，我听到有人叫了我的名字。
Okay, let's continue with our lesson. As we said earlier, today we're talking about the actual construction of the bridge. Well, actually, the rebuilding of the bridge, because remember, they do this every year. They remake the bridge every year in June. And we talked about the fact that the women do all the braiding, and then the men weave the smaller ropes into those massive cables, and then they're ready to go. So here on the second day, the cables are secured to stone supports on either side of the river. Okay, so if you secure something, that means you just tie it to something or attach it to something so that it will stay there. This kind of reminds me of what I read about the construction of the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. Yes, they secured the cables to either side of that body of water there. I think they anchored them over there so that they could hold up the roadway of the bridge.
Yes, these cables, they're secured or they're fastened in a safe way on either side of the river. That's kind of important. If you do not secure both sides of this bridge, you are going to be in trouble. Anyways, 4 of the cables will serve as the walkway where you walk on that particular bridge. They'll serve as the walkway for the new bridge, while 2 become the handrails. So there you go. You got 4 cables that you can walk on, and then 2 you can use for support. You can hold onto them with your hands as you cross. These will be the handrails.
Exactly. So that's basically some technical information about what those cables are used for. And meanwhile, the old bridge is cut away and drops into the river where it simply rots away. And it sounds like pollution there, but remember, this bridge is made out of grass, and grass is biodegradable. So that's okay. It just drops to the river below. And over time, with the rushing water and with rain and stuff like that, the old bridge will simply rot away. And to rot just means to decompose, to become a more elemental structure or substance of something. So yeah, your food can rot away if you leave it on the table too long, and that will smell really badly.
All right, folks, with that, it's time for us to take yet another break, but don't go away. When we come back, we'll be wrapping up our lesson on the Ìs Wa Ka rope bridge.
On the third day, the men work their way across the bridge, tying small ropes, boards, and branches between the rails and walkway so it will be safe to cross. The completed bridge is about 27 meters across and 15 meters above the water. It can hold around 10 tons, not bad for a bridge made of grass.
最后第3部分，我们看到片语 work one's way 表示奋力向点点点迈进。例如 Jim worked his way to the front of the crowd to get an autograph from his film idol. Jim 努力挤到人群前面，好拿到他电影偶像的签名。另外补充2个相关片语。第一 work one's way up 表示一路向上获得晋级、高升，像是Jenny is hoping to work her way up to become the head editor at the newspaper she works for. Jenny 希望能晋升为目前任职那家报社的总编辑。第二 work one's way up the ranks. R-A-N-K-S. Work one's way up the ranks. 表示逐步往上爬。举例来说 Scott started at the company as an intern and worked his way up the ranks. Scott 进公司时是实习生，然后一步步往上爬。
Okay, remember we've been talking about the 3-day process in which the Ìs Wa Ka Bridge is rebuilt or remade every year. So on the first day, they do the braiding and they weave the cables together. On the second day, the cables are secured and they've got different cables for the walkway and the handrails, and then the old bridge falls away and rots away in the river below. Now, on the third day, the men work their way across the bridge, tying small ropes, boards, and branches between the rails and walkway so it will be safe to cross. So here we've got the phrase to work one's way across something or to something. To work your way just means to work slowly toward something. They can't do this all at once. It takes a lot of time. So step by step, little by little, they work their way across the bridge, and they do these things as they go. They tie those small ropes, they tie the boards, and they tie the branches between the rails and the walkway, and then eventually it will be safe to cross that bridge.
Now, here we do have the word rail. Usually, when I hear the word rail, I think of a train. I don't think a train will be crossing this particular bridge, though. Am I right there, Roger?
Yeah, I think the rail here is not referring to a railroad. It's referring to the handrails. So, yeah, you've got the walkway and you've got the handrails, which is what you hold on to when you cross that bridge. You're going to need to hold on to those when you cross the bridge. Otherwise, you'll probably lose your balance and fall over the side and die. And no one wants that to happen. So they're tying these things between the rails and the walkway, and then it will be safe to cross that bridge. Now, here in the next sentence, it says, the completed bridge is about 27 meters across and 15 meters above the water. You know, that sounds like a description of some of the suspension bridges here in Taiwan. Of course, we can walk across those bridges rather easily, but it's probably pretty cool to cross this bridge because it's made out of rope. And it's pretty high there, about 15 meters above the water. And it's pretty long, too. It's about 27 meters long. So it might take you maybe 5 or 10 minutes to cross the bridge.
And get this. It can hold around 10 tons. Not bad for a bridge made of grass.
Sounds pretty cool, and I think a lot of people know about this bridge and would like to go there and cross it themselves, take pictures, post those pictures online and stuff like that. So I'm sure the people who live in these villages are living very comfortably from tourist dollars, although their salaries have probably gone down greatly in the time of COVID-19. But we do wish them the best of luck, and this sounds like a great project. Well, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. It's time now to listen to our Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文一开始写到，每年6月，维斯瓦卡桥会被重新建造。那么村里的女人会把收割的草编织成60公尺长、直径1.5公分的绳子。那文中它用到 diameter 这个字来表达直径。我们来学它的字首字根。好，先来看到 dia 这个字首呢，它表示穿越、跨越的意思。它可以指说从这一端到那一端的两端之间，所以 dia 具有在什么什么之间的意思。好，那它也可以表达说涵盖从这一端到另一端的范围，所以 dia 也有这种完全彻底的意思。那我们看到在 diameter 这个字当中， dia 字首表示跨越， meter 除了公尺，它还有计量、测量的意思。 diameter 这个字呢，就可以用来表达直径咯，也就是从这一端到另一端的测量距离。好，顺便补充几个有相同字首的单字。第一个是 diagonal， diagonal， 它的字首 dia 表示穿越， gon 表示角度，然后 al 是形容词字尾。同学们可以试着想，从某个角度穿越到另一个角度，那就是对角线咯。那么 diagonal 它当形容词就是形容对角线的、斜纹的，也可以当名词来表达对角线或是斜线的意思。第二个补充的是 dialect， dialect， 它的字首 dia 表示跨越或是在什么什么之间，那么字根 lect 表示交谈，合在一起 dialect 就是指方言。同学们可以试着想，彼此之间可以互相交谈、互相沟通的语言，那么最早其实就是用当地的方言嘛，用这个方式去想。好，第三个补充的是 diagnosis， diagnosis。 好，它的字首 dia 表示完全，那么字根 gnosis 它表示知悉、知识。同学们可以试着想， 完全的知道掌握这个病情，那就表示他诊断出病症了，所以 diagnosis 就是表达诊断或是诊断结果。好，那么课文第二部分提到说 4 of the cables will serve as the walkway for the new bridge, while 2 become the handrails. 其中4条绳索会作为新桥的步道，而2条会成为扶手。好，这边我们句子里面用到 while 当连接词呢，它就表示而，然而，是用来连接2个对比或是不同的陈述。这时候它的意思就相当于 whereas。好，我们来造个例句哦。Some prefer warm weather,while others prefer cool weather. 有些人偏好温暖的天气，而有些人是偏好凉爽的天气。好，那这边顺便补充一下 while 当连接词的其他用法。第一个是它可以用来引导让步副词子句去表达虽然尽管，那这时候意思就跟 though although 一样。特别注意的是 while though although 它们不能跟连接词 but 一起使用，这些连接词呢只要择一使用就好，它们就可以表达出虽然怎么样但是怎么样的意思。好，例如 While Ethan is short,He's the best player on his team. 虽然 Ethan 个子不高，但他却是他们队上最厉害的球员。那有没有注意到我们这边没有用 but？ 如果你要用 but 改写，我们就可以说 Ethan is short, but he's the best player on his team. 意思就会一样。好，再来补充第二个用法是可以用 while 表达在什么什么期间与什么什么同时，意思就相当于 when。例如 The phone rang while he was taking a shower.他在洗澡的时候电话响了。那这边补充一下 while 当这个意思来解释的时候，如果连接的2个子句主词一样，我们可以省略 while 后方的主词，然后再把动词改成分词。也就是说呢 while 引导的副词子句可以被简化成 while 加现在分词或过去分词。好，例如 They ran into Dave while they were waiting for the bus。那这个句子可以简化成 They ran into Dave while waiting for the bus， 也就是把 while they were waiting 变成 while waiting。 那这个意思就是说他们在等公车的时候遇到 Dave。 好，以上是今天重点整理，我们回顾今天的单字吧。
Braid. Jenny braided her hair before her magazine photo shoot. Construction on the building is expected to be completed by December 2021. Massive. The roof of the house was held up by massive columns. Secure. I secured the suitcases to the roof of the car with a rope. Rail. The old lady climbed the stairs slowly, holding tightly to the rail.
Discussion starter starts now!
Here's our discussion starter for today. Would you be interested in visiting or crossing the Keswichaka Rope Bridge?
Well, since I'm very interested in rope bridges and because I'm an adventurous traveler, I would probably go ahead, trek out there, and cross this particular bridge. I just find things like that just too fun to pass up. And further, again, I'm a fan of rope bridges, so bring it on.
Well, I am not interested in visiting or crossing the Keswichaka Rope Bridge. I'm sure it's wonderful, and I love going across suspension bridges all the time. But unfortunately, I am allergic to grass. So if I cross this bridge and smell that grass there, I'm going to be sneezing all the time, and that's going to be very miserable for me. I'd love to cross the bridge, but I'm afraid I can't.
Okay, everyone. With that, today's article is now complete. But, as always, we sure hope that you guys have enjoyed reading along with us. Anyways, I'm Jeff.
I am Roger.
See you next time.